Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. Talk about today is called It's Okay Not to Be Okay. It was written by a writer named Cho-yong, which is a pseudonym. Cho-yong literally means quiet, like Cho-yong. Cho-yong. Cho-yong is a woman, but she keeps her identity pretty well hidden from the scene. She's a relatively new writer to TV. She's only written one other TV show before this called Jugglers, which I have never seen. And I found It's Okay Not to Be Okay quite progressive in terms of gender. It's similar to Search WWW in that sense. It's like I'm seeing a lot of young female writers writing very progressive, new, edgy kinds of female protagonists, which I really appreciate. So, for instance, like the wealth and sexual agency belong to the female character, Ko Moon-young, on this program. And what I appreciated about this show is how it gives the main protagonist the freedom to feel and express resentment towards her parents without feeling forced or obliged to or obligated to forgive. That's transgressive because it sort of undoes this filial piety expectation. When it comes to trauma, the person who experienced it has the right to arrive at their healing at their own pace without the force of filial piety or social norms or expectations, even in the face of death of their own parents. And this show really gets into that in a very frank way. And I thought that was quite progressive. This show explores mental disability quite a bit. One of the primary settings on this show is a mental institution. And it has a lot of mentally disabled people as characters. And that's something I've been noticing increasingly on Korean dramas. I think it's important that this show has a character with PTSD from the Vietnam War, which points to a very real history in Korea. So the character Gan Pil-ong, played by Kim Ki-chun, plays a man who suffers from PTSD after serving in the Vietnam War, where he apparently had killed some people. And during the Vietnam War, the United States recruited over 300,000 Korean soldiers, South Korean soldiers, to serve in that war, and another 100,000 civilian Koreans were recruited to work in Vietnam for the U.S. war cause. This is a very violent history that Korea deals with because the Korean War trauma is not too long ago in the Korean memory, and Koreans were recruited to fight in a war that they did not believe in or have any stakes in. They had zero interest in it. Pretty much everybody who served in that war did so because they needed money, and fighting as a mercenary soldier brought an income to Korean families who, at the time, many of them were struggling to rebuild after the Korean War. And the cause for the Americans fighting in Vietnam is pretty much the same reason why Americans fought in Korea. It was to fight communism and to keep the military-industrial complex stimulated. Right? And the PTSD that the Korean soldiers returned with after fighting in the Vietnam War is something imbued not only with shame, but also with confusion and identity complex, because the U.S. dealt with a lot of flack for being such a racist country. I mean, it still is, as we can tell. And Korea was used as a way to prove that the United States was not racist, although the entire world was watching Americans beating down Black citizens who were marching for civil rights at the time. And a lot of their efforts to combat this negative image that the United States had sort of ended up, with like U.S. campaigning to adopt Korean babies and to uphold this wholesome Christian, non-racist and benevolent image that was completely constructed out of, a sort of defensiveness, right? And a denial that white Americans are racist. And the recruitment of Korean soldiers to fight in the Vietnam War was also used as a claim against those who called the Vietnam War a racist war. And they were like, well, we got Asians fighting alongside too, so there you go. Americans have a lot of pent-up resentment towards Asians, right? Especially the Japanese. This is a resentment that they acted upon by rounding up Japanese Americans and locking them up in prison that they called internment camps, right, during World War II. But the US also bombed the shit out of Japan during World War II, and they fought in the Korean War immediately thereafter, which killed nearly 4 million Koreans, or probably more. That number is still, it's nobody's sure because so many people died. And to erase this image, this negative image that America has, they started hiring Korean troops to fight in Vietnam, and they took advantage of poor civilians. This history of fighting in the Vietnam War haunts Korea to this day. It's something that's not taught in many history classes. Of course, not in the United States, hardly ever in Korea, but it's a history that is worth acknowledging because it happened not too long ago. I like that It's Okay Not to Be Okay uses classic fairy tales as titles and motifs for each episode. I love the costume design and the production design on this show. I thought both were amazing. And Ko Min-young's outfits are like always breathtaking. I'm always like, where did she get those shoes? Where did she get that purse? Where did she get that dress? I also loved her hair and makeup. I don't know who did her hair and makeup, but I thought it was amazing. And I just have a huge crush on Soyeji. Like I already said this, but I think she's like really hot. I remember seeing Soyeji in a really weird sitcom years ago called Potato Star. So, given that she's done sitcoms, like this sort of makes sense because she has a very comedic sensibility and ability on It's Okay Not to Be Okay. But I genuinely felt like her performance outdid Kim Soo-hyun's. Yeah, I think Kim Soo-hyun is a really hot piece of ass and really great to look at, but I think Soyeji is a far superior actress, genuinely. I also think that she's more attractive than he is because she's got that voice. I think she has this amazing, cool, deep voice that's extremely captivating. Kim Soo-hyun's cameo appearance in Crash Landing on You was pretty much to advertise the fact that he was going to be in this show, this TVN drama, right? This Studio Dragon drama. And this was Kim Soo-hyun's first TV show appearance after his military conscription duty. So it was nice to see Kim Soo-hyun back on the small screen. Oh Jung-se plays Moon Sang-tae, the autistic older brother. And Oh Jung-se has been an actor for a really long time, since like the late 1990s. And he usually plays supporting roles and like does a lot of character acting. I think he's a pretty great actor. I think he's really good. He was also in When the Camellia Blooms with Kong Yo-jin a year prior to this show, and he won an award for that role. He was also nominated for an APAN Star Award for his role in It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Today's guest is Kristen Lundberg. She's a comedian and actress based in Los Angeles. She was named one of the top 1,000 comedians in the 2017 Thrillist. She was also on NBC's America's Got Talent, and she has a YouTube channel called Mammy Spanks. She's really funny. She's a dear friend. Let's talk to Kristen Lundberg. But you found a place pretty fast.
Yeah, I went on Craigslist. Basically like me and the roommate we had a fight. She
Yeah.
kept coming into my room, kept asking
Yeah.
me for just like to do this and do that and don't do this and don't do that, and she'd come in there when I was having conversations to my friends about her, you know what I mean? So sometimes that shit got hella awkward. And
Yeah.
then one day I was like, while her parents were there, I was like, do you guys need anything else? Because I need some privacy, because they kept coming in. And Parisa like went off and she's like, oh, like, she came into my garage and was like, oh, I went to medical school and I'm working during a pandemic and you're just a wannabe actress. And yeah, all this stuff, and I'm like, dude,
She
first of
got.
all, like,
Mm-hmm.
I I got booked for to play Valkyrie in a promo
Mm-hmm.
for Clash of Clans
Mm-hmm.
on the internet. All right, so I'm not a wannabe actress. All right, just because the Project COVID canceled doesn't mean I'm a I'm a real actress, dude. So she came up in there with a attitude, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go on Craigslist and see what we could find?
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean you already knew that this would happen, you know? You
Yeah, man, I was prepped, man. I was
you were.
prepped. I knew the doomsday was coming
Yeah.
or I'd have to leave. God, it was such a beautiful little garage. Like I
It
loved it.
was. It was. And you had a little outdoor space.
Yeah, it was so nice. But this place is coming together. I just need to scrub. I need to scrub the floor. It was dirty. It definitely like some dudes came in here, cleaned it like what they thought was clean.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you got out of there because like the stories you would tell me, I was just like even before you moved in, I was like, you see the magnitude of like the red flag.
I thought I could get my way with her. Like I thought like maybe she would come around, maybe I could reason with her. You
No.
know, yeah, dude, I gave her too much credit. You can't expect A work out of F students. She she might have
Yeah.
been an A student in med school, but as far as like having a conversation goes, F student.
Yeah. Like in terms of a social life, yeah, she doesn't know how
Yeah.
to hold one up.
I can't believe she pooped in it. She pooped in the shower while I was showering one
What?
time.
Oh my
I think,
God, yeah.
yeah,
I
she pooped in the shower while I was showering. She unlocked the door. I didn't even know she could do that. I'm like, is she trying to impress me right now? I
like
like,
you
she gave
locked
it,
it and then she unlocked it from the outside?
yeah,
Oh
yeah. It was like a latch door. So she like popped her little finger in.
my God.
I'm just
Dude,
like, man, you're so invasive. Like, I don't know. I guess like she really had to go. It was bad, dude.
people with no boundaries like that, they're just pig people to me. It's just no.
Yeah,
There are certain things that you should just never do. Doesn't she have an extra
yeah.
bathroom in that big house of hers?
Not an extra one, no.
No?
No,
Okay.
just the one. It's a little bathroom, but it I was only in there like I was hardly ever in that bathroom, man. I only went in there, I did my business, I got the hell out of there.
Yeah. The thing is, like, we've all been in that position where, like, we have a roommate and the roommate's in the bathroom while we need to take a shit. Like, that's happened, right? But
Yeah,
what do we
yeah.
do? What do we do? We hold it in.
You hold it. Yeah,
You hold
exactly.
it and you wait.
You tell them to
Okay?
hurry up. You say hurry up, or you might poop your pants a little bit. Still, it's your fault. Why are you putting yourself in eating bullshit to put yourself in a position where you're gonna poop your
I mean,
pants?
regardless, like we would never pop open a door that our roommate is using while taking a shower to go in and take a dump while they're in the shower with all that
No, dude.
steam, you know?
That's
Like,
really dude. I used to live with an A-list West Hollywood bear. Okay, part of the bear, like the gay leather
yeah.
daddy community,
Uh-huh.
and he would never do something that aggressive. Like, you know what I mean? And he likes to be whipped with leather. So where have all the gay leather daddies gone? That's a song I'm singing. Where
Yeah. I mean,
where are my BDSM daddies?
you started acting out in Ohio, right? Where you're from?
Yeah, I started acting when I was in high school, and I
Yeah.
got into comedic acting more specifically in like the high school drama and stuff like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was getting near like graduating high school, and I started trying stand up, and like the stand up in my town was very Jeff Foxworthy, and like did not did not vibe well with that
Uh-huh.
because I feel like I'm a more alternative, you
Hmm.
know, look kind of like punk rock vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But these Daytoners are all like, you're a redneck when
Right.
yeah.
Right. And then you were up
And
there with your hair and your violin. Well, when did you start incorporating the violin into your act?
in Chicago, I started doing that. And I
Oh.
started playing violin when I was like 12 years old, and I went all through like the orchestra program through my middle school and high school and did all that. And then I graduated, and um, yeah, I kind of played for the Salvation Army, like outside Kroger, where they would like ring the bell, and I would bring a violin.
What would you play? Like
We would
Christmas
collect
carols?
money. Yeah, I would play a lot of Christmas carols, like Handel's Messiah. I would try to play because we played the whole Handel's Messiah for a concert one time. So I
Uh-huh.
knew the whole thing. Like I had the whole book and I would play that. and people would be like, yeah, it's good, and like some people would be like, play Jingle Bells, and I always hated that. I always hated that. I'm like, oh, fuck Jingle Bells, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
playing the real shit right here. And I remember I got hired for a party to play Jingle Bells basically the whole entire time. Like this guy, like he was pretty rich. He like owned Kroger's or something, and like had me come over to his Christmas parties a couple years, and he would take me around to every group at the party and be like, play Jingle Bells for these people. Check
Oh
this
my
out. Check
God.
this out. Play Jingle Bells.
It's
It
horrible.
was it's $200. But
Oh.
yeah, so I played violin for a long time, and then like I started doing stand up in my late teens, early 20s, moved to Chicago, was doing stand up there for a while, doing, some, kind of like underground, like really kind of blue humor kind of stuff. And then I'm like, it'd be funny if I incorporated like a real fancy instrument with this while I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying all of this really crude
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And so I just thought it was funny, like the dichotomy of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
also kind of wanted to just be different, and
Yeah.
like kind of like balance the line between like, oh, what's a musical comedian, what's a stand-up comedian? Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to like fall into either category necessarily. So
Yes.
like I would like play with the punchlines and really make sure that my act has punchlines in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like try to just with like stand up to that standard and have that. But yeah, dude, it was like it was all like experimental and weird, and I definitely had my moments where I'm like, I hate this. Like, why did I bring this violin up here? How could I? I'm so dorky, and like, like it's so bad, it's so bad, and like feeling like that because like I wanted to be good at the violin. I actually wanted to be like in an orchestra professionally. I thought
Oh.
for
Like a
like the first.
philharmonic kind of situation.
Yeah, yeah. When I was like
Hmm.
going through middle school in the first like year of high school, maybe I was like, yeah, I want to be like the first violinist,
Hmm.
like the
First
best
chair.
violinist, first chair. And now I make jokes about duct taping the first violinist to the first chair. So
Yeah.
it's like I win.
Yeah. I know that you don't like to be categorized in either of those boxes. I remember like this was when we had kind of like when we had first met. It was like early on, and I was like, there's another musical comic. I was talking about I think Morgan J. I was like
Yeah.
trying to talk about Morgan J. I was like, yeah, there's another musical comic that I saw, and you were like, I'm not a musical comic. I was like, oh. I was like, this is a sore spot for her. And you were like, is Zach Galifianakis a musical comic? Is Sarah Silverman a musical comic? I was like, okay, I get it. You're not a musical comic. Like I was like, okay,
Hashtag not musical comedy.
right, right. Musical comedy. That's the differentiating kind of thing. Musical comic is one thing, but being a performing musical comedy is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, I think the difference is like I imagine a musical comic is like writing a bunch of songs
yes.
and just they're playing songs that they wrote, which is
Mhm.
not what I'm doing. I'm
Right.
stealing.
Mhm.
I'm stealing
Yeah.
songs that are public domain, but I'm not writing them,
Right.
So and yeah, and I don't do like sound effects and like
Right.
stuff like that either. That's like
Mhm.
goofy. I don't I'll I mean, I'll make it sound ugly,
Mhm.
but it's not like I don't
Mhm.
know. It's,
Yeah, you don't sing your punchlines. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, I
There's
definitely,
no Yeah, there's no
yeah,
lyrics. I think bringing an instrument like the violin, which is very sophisticated and elegant and like, highbrow, so called, right?
right,
And bringing that onto the stage and then doing something that's like considered bass, performance, like stand-up comedy, which is very considered very like, like it's like something you watch at the cellar, in the cellar or a basement hole, not at like a
Yeah.
philharmonic kind
Right.
of, orchestra sort of theater, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I like that sort of that interplay as well. It's interesting, you know.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, dude. It's a in violence like the edgiest instrument, I think too. I always felt like it was the
Mm.
most goth, and I wanted to be so dark and goth, you know? Because I want to go against the norm. I want to go against the norm. I'm like, I want to do stand up. I want to be philosophical about it, okay? And I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm a stand up and I'm up here just doing stand up, I'm not going against the norm in stand up. How do I
Uh-huh.
fuck that up?
Yes. Yes, yes,
To just
yes.
bring
Go
my
in
fiddle
there.
up here and be like, no, I'm not a musical comedian. No, I'm not. And then everybody
Mhm.
is like, what? What?
Right, right. I get it. Yeah, I do know you're attracted to the whole goth thing. Your friends are very goth. Like like
Yeah,
like Mia Mars,
yeah,
like she's like the quintessential goth
yeah,
comedian in the scene. Alex
yeah,
Alex Felixson, she's another dark one.
yeah, yeah. And we met in Chicago.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel comforted by that. I guess my friends growing up were um heavily influenced by their older siblings, like and their older siblings like Marilyn Manson and
Mhm.
ICP, and like the kind of darker, edgier stuff. And
Yeah,
so my friends kind of emulated their older siblings, and then I was like, oh, okay, well I'll emulate your older siblings too, because I didn't have any older siblings.
'cause you're the oldest.
Yeah,
Yeah, had to chart your own terrain. I kind of
right.
understand that too. Like, um, all my friends when I was younger, they all had like older brothers for the most
Yeah,
part, and like I envied that so much because like these bitches had like protection, when they went to
yeah,
school, And I'm
right.
like, fuck, I wish I had protection when I went to school, or
I
like
know,
just
right?
just like cred, it's like, oh, that's so and so's little sister,
Right,
like the upperclassmen just giving you that recognition is just like that
right.
looked so nice, and I was so envious of that. So yeah, I get that, and like I
Yeah,
didn't have
nobody's threatened by like art guinea pigs or whatever.
yeah, and
Oh my
like
god. Stick Henrietta on them. Let out the pigs.
and it's like we didn't have like somebody to look up to be like, oh, that's good music, or that's a
Yeah,
movie to kind of watch, and like, it's like part of the zeitgeist, and like that's something you name, that's something you reference, like
yeah,
having an older sibling is sort of this a way, it's a guide into culture, like your first
yeah,
taste into culture. I feel like that's what older siblings
yeah,
are. And so, and because you and I didn't have that, we had to do it on our own. And that's why you have this violin situation, right? How do you break out of the mold? It's like it's almost
yeah,
like this resentment of what is already classified or categorized as the thing in the mainstream. It's like we're like, no, 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 we're not about that. You got to do something alternative to that, because secretly we
yeah.
wish we had that when we were younger and we just didn't have it.
Right.
It's like, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you and your basic ass brother's recommendations. I got my own shit going on. I'm gonna go be the discoverer, right?
Right. Yeah,
Hmm.
dude. Well, I taught her brother how to play chess.
Oh, nice.
I remember it, yeah, because my dad and his side of the family liked to play, and I taught him how to play chess, and dude was crazy good at chess. And then I'm
Oh,
like, I fucking hate how cool this guy is, and like, like, dude, how like I remember one time he told me how he was gonna defeat me. He was like, first I'm gonna take all your pawns, and then I'm gonna take your two knights, and then I'm gonna take your two rooks, and then your two bishops, and then your queen and your king. And he literally did it.
oh my gosh.
He was
Wow.
like really, really like this guy was a smart dude, and like we looked up to him an awful lot. Like,
Yeah.
and he just like went to raves and shit and wanted to be a DJ. but then like was like really good at chess for some reason.
Yeah, he was so intelligent, and then he wasted it by going to raves and becoming a
Yeah,
DJ.
exactly, dude.
Is there like another city that you'd want to move to? Because I know you went from Dayton. You went from Dayton to Chicago, right?
Yeah. Well, I went
And
from
then,
Dayton to Cincinnati
oh, right,
to Chicago, but Dayton and Cincinnati are really close.
sure.
Yeah, I went down to Cincinnati and then Chicago, and then I lived in Tehachapi, California for a month because
What?
I was
Where? I
staying
don't
with
even
my
know where that
friend.
is.
It's up in the mountains. It's part of Kern County. It's like up north of Lancaster, north of,
Whoa.
it's out in the boonies, man. Uh, and I lived there on this mountain that got snow and like all this like I don't know inclement weather, and I was just there for a month because I was trying to
Goodness.
find a place in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. But I mean, that would be the place I would want to live, just
In the
up in the
snowy
boonies.
mountains.
Yeah, because the air quality and just I just feel like it's nice and quiet.
Hmm. Yeah, that I could really go for too. And I was also
Yeah,
thinking like, oh, maybe I could go to like Joshua Tree now that it's the winter and we won't
yeah.
fry to death. Because when you and I went, it was in peak heat in July, and we both lost our
It was
minds out there.
bee season.
Yeah, we
Apparently, it
bee
was like.
season. We buried our souls in the sand out there. They never came back with us. But yeah.
Right.
Um, okay. I saw you were working. You had like auditions and stuff. Was there an
Oh
interesting
yeah.
shoot or?
No, there's just like a couple of commercial auditions floating in. I had one
Hmm.
for Mitsubishi.
Oh, nice.
Another one for I don't know. It was just called the spot was just called Greatness in the Making, and
Huh.
they had me improvise a plant dying and then coming in and like trying to rescue it, and I was like, no, and I tried to tape it. I put like tape around. I'm like, maybe if I tape it, and I'm like, guy upstairs who snores all the time, come snore on my plant. I need your carbon dioxide. And I was like breathing on it, like, and just improv a plant dying, and then improv talking to your friend while knitting, talking to your friend about how to, get a man,
Oh my God.
basically. Which my answer to that is you don't need no man. That's how you get one. You just act like you don't want one, like I just took my first like acting class
Hmm.
in LA yesterday. I took it
Oh
online.
wow. Uh-huh.
And I was very like, I was like, holy shit, like some of these actors are picking scripts that are very heavy and they're like, starting to tear up and they're like able to like really, really nail making me believe
Mm.
them. They're nailing it. And like, I'm just like, holy shit, dude, like, hold the phone. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. Can't do that. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like you have to be versatile
Yeah.
in many ways. And that's also a tricky thing like as a comic because you're also navigating that. Like that's also an image. It's also you, right? Like
Right.
being a comedian is it's easier for people like you and I than being a dramatic actor because we get to hide a lot, like humor as a defense
Yeah.
mechanism or humor as a shield or an armor.
We're breaking tension,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and they're causing it.
Yeah, they're just building it, and we're just like, "Oof!" Like we really need a poop joke right here, right now. Like immediately.
Except
It's too much.
poop jokes are apparently, yeah, they're too much for anytime I've said a poop joke in a professional setting, they've nixed it. I think they're great. Apparently they're like in a professional setting though, they're like the equivalent to a rape joke. Like
What?
poop humor is not
What kind of professional
appropriate.
setting?
like commercial settings, like where I'm
Huh.
auditioning for. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, okay. In a commercial setting, I think I understand why they don't want you to talk about poop. It's like like at Disneyland or Disney
Yeah.
World, you're never allowed to
Yeah.
show trash, you know, or
Yeah.
disturb like break the illusion whatsoever. Like that's what commercial and
Yeah.
advertising is. It's just constructed plastic materiality. Nobody poops. Nobody has periods. Like there are no bodily
Yeah.
functions to speak of. It's only
Yeah.
like a clean Mitsubishi
Nobody
vehicle.
cries.
Nobody cries. There's no sadness. There's just
Yeah.
only smiling, things working
Only
out.
ambition. Ambition only.
Yeah,
They always say that. They always say ambitious look, an aspirational look.
which is the same look as pooping.
Dude, she was like, she also said, she's like, I like you better when you smoke pot. And
Ugh.
then I was like, I don't like you at all. And apparently that like set her off the hinges. And then she started blaming me for breaking everything. She's like, you broke my toaster oven and you broke my aloe plant and you stole this Tupperware container. I'm like, I was using it. But take it back. I don't need sriracha sauce that bad. I'll dump it out. And I've gone to some parties. I went to Houston. I did stay good most of the time, but there are like a few times where yeah, I jumped on a plane a few times.
Huh.
So, and I wore the mask and stuff, but like when I was in Houston, I was with a bunch of conspiracy theory people, and they were doing running underground stand-up comedy shows,
Are you
and
serious?
nobody's wearing a mask, and we're sharing joints, and we're drinking, and it's like I did that because I was like, fuck it, here we go, COVID, here I come. I don't know. Just
Wow. Oh
I
my
don't know, but
God.
I kind of had this theory to myself. I was like, as long as I like try and drink some hot tea when I come home, kill anything that might be incubating. Okay, that's and then like I do yoga and exercise every day. Just good for
So
your
yoga, tea, and exercise the COVID away.
yeah, and just general health, gut health, probiotics. Eat a little bowl of sauerkraut every now and then.
And sauerkraut. There you go.
Broccoli, eat some raw broccoli, vegetables,
Broccoli. Okay. We're gonna
fortified
keep
vitamins,
adding things. Yeah, broccoli. What
cheese,
else?
cheese.
Cheese. Goat cheese. Mozzarella cheese.
That's just for my teeth. I just eat some cheese and then just
Oh
don't
yeah,
brush my
yeah. You
teeth
don't need fluoride or toothbrush, just cheese.
right. Thank you. I'm trying to rebuild my enamel with cheese and with green tea. They say that green tea helps too.
Yeah. To all the
Green tea.
dentists out there, you better watch out because green tea and cheese are gonna replace you.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you some flashcard questions.
Okay.
The show that I was discussing in this episode is called It's Okay Not to Be Okay. And it's
Mhm.
about a children's book author, a goth children's book author. She is clinically sociopathic, all right? So
Okay.
has like sociopath traits and tendencies. Um,
Which
due
means
to
what? Like a
which means
sociopath is
like she lacks empathy.
okay.
She lacks the ability to like read people's situations and feel empathetic towards their situations. Like it's like she's very
Yeah.
like selfish and yeah, but it's due to
Okay.
trauma. She has a lot of trauma that from childhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's her. And the guy she has a crush on he works as, how do I say, like, those people at the mental asylums that are like the muscle, like they're like the security people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a security person at a mental institution, and he has an older brother who is autistic, like severely autistic,
Uh,
and he's been his older brother's sole caretaker because he and his brother are
okay.
orphans. Yeah,
Okay.
and this love sort of bond develops between this children's book author and this like security person basically.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they have a complicated past. So that's the show. And it's quite a good show. I enjoy it. So anyway, let me ask you this. So if let's say you're
Uh-huh.
the young boy with an autistic older brother. Okay, you're about 12 years old. You're like in middle school. Your brother is in high school, but he's autistic.
Yeah.
And your mother one drunken night, okay, she was very drunk and she gives you a hug in the middle of the night and says to you that she gave birth to you so that you can take care of her autistic son when she dies. What do you do?
Oh, what do I do? Well, I would probably just be like, okay, mom, and take care of the autistic son.
That's it?
Because yeah, I would probably um be like, damn, like that's some truth, some shit you couldn't tell me when you're sober.
And when
And
you're not 12?
and yeah, because that's how trauma works. You're 12 years old and you don't know any better, and you're just like, okay, mama says that I'm gonna be my brother's dad now. So you become your brother's dad. Like you don't think like this is fucked up or this is
Right.
weird. Like, I don't know, I would probably just like do it also because, I'm 12 years old. It's like that's like a pretty like brain, like your brain's pretty developed there. You can know what's going on, and like you probably have love for your brother at
Mm.
that point, like real love, not like, the love that we're born with in our heart, like that's
Right.
developed, like your brain also loves him and shit now. So I
Hmm.
probably would just like do it for the love of my brother.
Okay.
And I mean, I have a younger sister, so I'm like, I don't know, when somebody told me my younger sister was autistic and I had to like be stuck with like, this autistic younger sister all through my career in Hollywood and stuff like that. That's what stars are made of, you know? It's like a defeat story, that's a story that's like an overcoming, yeah, you, I'll be like, man, you're really gonna make me fight for it, aren't you? Life. All right, fucking
Bring it.
But it makes for an interesting story to have to
Mm.
take care of somebody like that. I had an aunt growing up. My aunt Tammy was handicapped. She was deaf, and she
Mhm.
also couldn't walk,
Mm.
and she couldn't talk.
Mm.
And yeah, like it was kind of weird communicating with her, but it was like, it was like because I had that experience of communicating and learning sign language and,
Mhm.
figuring out the different ways you can make people laugh,
Mm.
not just with words, but with how mannerisms and stuff.
Right.
Like it was like an enriching experience, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's say your autistic older brother signed a contract with this sociopathic children's book author who has a crush on you. And her terms state that he must live in her mansion for the duration of the work period. And she did this because she likes you so much and wants to force you to move into her house. What do you do?
Call police. Then I'm calling the fucking police.
Really?
That's not my mama. That's not my family. That's like a weird lady. That's a third party. Get her out of here.
All right. And this situation is a little too close to home for you because you just got out of a situation like that where you were
Yeah,
living in a house with a nut. Yeah.
I thought about calling the police on her. I'm like, dude, if she fucking does anything, like,
All right. Cool. Call the cops. All right. Authorities. All right.
yeah.
So So let's say when you were young, okay, your mom screamed at you and she beat you for not looking after your autistic older brother. So you left the house while shouting that you wish that your brother was dead. And your autistic brother chases after you and then he falls into some thin ice And you initially walked away wishing he'd die, but you eventually returned to save him. And then years later, he confronts you about this incident publicly and asks why you left him to die. What do you do?
Um, well, well. It's public, so we got to be careful here.
Okay.
Because I don't know about this kid, but I have an acting career, so I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might even go as far as say I didn't do
Oh, just deny it.
that. I might be. I mean, like, there's a bunch of things that come to mind. I'm like, I had to go pay a parking meter. I had to go check on something. There was an emergency.
Yeah.
I knew you were okay. I thought you were fake. I thought you were faking it. I thought you were doing this shit where you're always faking being more hurt than you actually are. So I thought you were faking it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the meter was running. Yeah, you had to put another quarter in the meter. That was a bigger emergency than you falling through thin ice and drowning.
Oh wait. Okay, so he was falling through thin ice and
Yeah,
drowning.
he fell
It through a
through.
giant puddle. Okay, I was imagining he slipped and fell and was laying on thin ice, but he fell
No,
through.
no, he's in the water. It's like this frozen lake kind of situation. I don't know why there were kids playing in a frozen lake in the first place, but
I was going to get help. I couldn't help you. There
right.
there was more thin ice. It would have swallowed us both.
Mm.
How would mom feel if she lost two sons in one day? Plus I'm the younger non-autistic one. So I'm gonna go. I was going
Oh my
I was
God.
going to get a stick. I was going to get a stick to put in the
Right, right.
dip it in and
Yes.
grab you. Cause you big dumbass would have pulled me in.
Yeah. Yeah, like yeah, you were never running away. You were going to get a stick to rescue. Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
dude, maybe in that moment, okay, let's say, yeah, all right, because here's where my morals are.
Mm,
Maybe in that moment, yes, I did want him to die,
mm,
and I'm not gonna lie publicly and say
mhm,
I didn't want you to die or anything like. I'm not gonna lie,
mhm,
okay, but I will talk to him about it later. It'd be like, I just wanted you to die in that moment, but we're cool, dude. We're not like, I was a kid and I just like had a lot of resentment for you.
mm.
But seriously, don't ever bring that shit up in public ever again. I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's reasonable. All right, final question. So, when you were a child, you're the same boy, okay? When you were a child, your mother was murdered by somebody and nobody caught the perpetrator. But one day you find out that the mother of the sociopathic children's book author that you're now dating, the one that you're currently in love with, her mom murdered your mom. What do you do?
Your mom murdered my mom.
Yeah. Your lover's mother murdered your mother.
Mm. I mean, I instantly just think call police. Call police on it.
Really? Even though you're in love with this person.
She doesn't have to know I called the police.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's her mom. I don't give a shit about her mom.
It's not her.
Yeah, it's not her. She didn't do it. It was her mom. But yeah, so I would probably just like separate the two and be like, yo, maybe low key not gonna say anything because she might murder me. You know, it, apple doesn't fall from far from the tree.
Yeah.
So I would probably secretly just like avenge my mother's death.
Oh, all right. Well then let me switch the situation around. You're the you're that sociopathic children's book author, okay? You're very alone, okay? You feel very lonely all the time.
Mhm.
Um, and you're in love with this guy. Like you love him so much, you know? You want him around all the time. And then you find out that your mom killed his mom. What do you
Mhm.
do?
Mm. I don't know. How did she kill him?
The mom she her mother killed his mother, I think with
Yeah,
a knife, like stabbed her to death.
stabbed her to death.
Yeah.
You know, that's another that's another door that just doesn't need to be open.
Okay.
I just wouldn't.
It's very Midwestern of you.
We're just gonna shove that down. We're just gonna drink a little alcohol and shove it down.
Yeah, a little hot tea, a little
Yeah.
broccoli. That'll take care of it.
Just shove that shit down way down in there. And yeah, because I wouldn't want to mess up my relationship with my uh boyfriend that I loved so
Yeah.
much. So I probably wouldn't do that, but I don't know, it depends on the boyfriend. If I was like, dude, he's a weak ass loser, maybe I'll just be like, all right, I'm gonna tell him my mom killed his mom. Take him down a notch. Take him down a notch, you know?
No, it's trickier. It's like he's the one. He's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably
It's-
wouldn't be saying nothing.
Okay.
But if me and my boyfriend were on, it depends. Like, you know, like, is my boyfriend treating me well at that moment? Like, is he,
Hmm. He
is
is.
he,
He is, but
like,
he has
are we getting
temper
on each other's
issues.
nerves?
He has
Yeah.
temper issues. He like yells at her every once in a while. That's the
Probably.
one thing. Like, um, a friend of mine said this to me years ago. She was like, "I never tolerate yelling from a man," and I was like, "Oh, that's a good rule to have because I've been
Hmm.
screamed at by certain boyfriends in my life, and whenever
Hmm.
they screamed at me, I felt like shit. I felt
Yeah.
awful." And then after I heard her say that, I was like, oh, that's a good and empowering thing for me to take on as well. Like, I'll never tolerate yelling from a guy, you know? Because, like, when
Yeah.
a woman yells at a man, he usually doesn't end up dead, you know? Whereas, like, when a
Right.
man yells at a woman, that's the start to, like, beatings and murder
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
Or it's like if it's, going both ways, like if you're yelling at each other, that's also another thing. But like, I mean, being unilaterally yelled at by a guy, like screamed at, that's happened to me so many times in my past relationships that I was just like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
never tolerate that ever, you
Yeah.
know?
Never again.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's surprising to me that you tolerated it when you did. But sometimes
Yeah,
we do dumb shit in the name
yeah.
of love.
In the name of love, like my mother murdered your mother, and yet we're together, right? Like, right? Like that's their situation. It's like
That
they're
is that's their business though. I mean, really,
that's
like,
true.
you
That
know,
is their fucking business.
and my mom has had many issues and fights with my friends' moms and stuff. So like the mom on mom jealousy and stuff can get real. Like,
What?
yeah, and not like maybe not jealousy, I don't know. My mom seems to think that everybody else's moms were like jealous of her. And I'm just like, okay, mom.
Were you a really great student?
I was a good student. Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
started getting bad grades and I was in honors science,
Uh-huh.
and once we got to so I did well with chemistry, but then once we did physics, I was
Oh,
like, I'm out, deuces.
yeah.
I ended up getting a C in the class and I
Uh-huh.
withdrew myself. I just put down the towel, threw in the
Hmm.
towel.
So you were like, I can't do this, and I can't tolerate a C.
Yeah, I can't tolerate a C.
It's similar to yeah, the other answers you gave. Like, okay, just hide it, withdraw, hide, push down. Yes.
Well, I mean, for the other answer, where the I want to retract one of my past answers now,
Okay. All right.
so they're not all the same.
All right.
But I thought for the one where my older brother slipped and was drowning in ice, I'll
Yeah.
probably just say I'm sorry,
Oh.
for that. Like, yeah, I did do that.
Mm. Own up.
But it was because it was like, because you added in the public and everything, and I'm like, oh God,
Right. Right.
like, you gotta, like, that adds a different layer. So I was like,
Yes.
but I think even if it were public, I would probably still just be like, yeah, I'm like, not gonna lie about doing that, and
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Like, one time I ran over my friend's finger with an ice skate, and I'm not gonna, if she brought it up, like, if she brought it up on Facebook or something today and was like, remember that one time you skated over my finger and it bled, and
Yeah.
I was like, and I would probably be like, yeah, and you remember when I said I was sorry about that, and then like I'm also still sorry.
Yeah. Wow. Her finger stayed intact?
Yeah, we were young, like we were 12 years old, so I mean, I probably wasn't heavy enough to really rip it. I apologized for like hours. Felt so bad.
Yeah. Well, you gotta forgive yourself now.
If I forgive myself, I mean, that's not funny.
Yeah, you gotta hold it over your head till the day you die,
Yeah,
just to make people laugh.
keep thinking about it. Remember when you ran over your friend's finger with this? Fuck, dude, no!
Gotta
I
stay
love
put
how
for a
every
while.
time you laugh, you wipe your eyes with a Burger King napkin.
It's because when I laugh, I start tearing.
Yeah,
It's a condition I have. I mean, everybody tears up a
yeah,
little bit when they laugh hard, but like for
yeah.
me, it's like every time I laugh, I have tears coming down my eyes. It's fucked up.
Weird.
It's terrible. Next week is gonna be a real special week. Okay, I'm gonna be discussing a super duper old school K drama called Star in My Heart, also called 별은 내 가슴에. If you've seen this show, you already know the song. Okay, you already know the song. That's in my heart. All right, it stars An Ji-wook and the late great Choi Jin-sil. Okay, a lot of academics write that Winter Sonata is the first Hallyu drama, but that's debatable. Okay, Koreans call Star in My Heart the first Hallyu drama because China went buck wild over this show. All right, and this is a pretty special show. It's hard to find online. You can't even find it on Drama Cool. That's how special it is. Okay? You can find some clips scattered around YouTube, but it's a show worth digging around for. So, try and find it, try and watch it, and it's really fun to see how starkly it contrasts with today's K-dramas like It's Okay Not to Be Okay, like Search WWW. I mean, if you see how passive these female characters are on Star in My Heart, you will be amazed. As always, if you have questions, email them to kdramaschool@gmail.com. You can visit the website, kdramaschool.com. And you can also follow K-Drama School on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can subscribe. You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. You could leave 5 stars. You could leave a nice review. And if you want to watch this show, you could watch it on YouTube. It's free. You can subscribe on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe on YouTube. That way it'll increase my followers and I can finally change my YouTube subscriber name to K-Drama School. I'm dying to do that, but apparently I need like 100 people to subscribe on YouTube. So please subscribe. My goodness, I'm begging you. As always, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you. And I will see you all next week.